Alright, so hello everyone. Um, my plan for today's stream is to work some more on the interior of the laundromat, hopefully finish that off, at least as much as I can. And I'll go over some of the issues that I've encountered with the new CryEngine 5.1. It's quite buggy, unfortunately. Um, I would say it's a little buggier than what 5.0 was apparently. I mean, I thought there was going to be some fixes, but um, there's still quite a few bugs happening, and some of them are quite annoying. Um, like bugs can, I mean, I've seen bugs that are actually pretty that I actually like, but no, not this time. And I've I'm not sure if, I mean, who else is using it or to what point people are using it. But in my case, and I've noticed this across the woodland level as well, is the engine would crash if you try to generate a cube map or like an environment probe when the volumetric fog is on. Volumetric fog seems to be very buggy. Um, and also there's, and this I don't know if I should, if it's an issue with the video, my video card graphics, which my Nvidia is up to date to the latest version, uh, that it just crashes when you move the camera sometimes, and it's completely random, and you get this error that your memory limit is 0, or you ran out of memory somehow, which should not happen, and it did not. It never happened before on the EAS version, so I'm assuming it's an issue with this new engine. But when it's one of those things, it's like it, I, I'm assuming it's also like the part of German engineering. It's when it's working, it's like the best thing you will be using in your life. But when it isn't, it's a complete pain. So, rant aside, it's been a little bit frustrating to have all these crashes that um, I mean, I could understand and trigger this crash when you generate a probe when volumetric fog is on, but some of the other ones, um, I don't know where they come from. So I'll probably try and submit a bug report on the forums. I'm not sure if it's gonna go anywhere. I hope it will, but we'll see. Okay, so go moving on to, since now I'm doing some level design. Uh, so this is my laundromat. These are the interior walls. As I mentioned in the previous streams, I have an interior walls mesh and then an exterior walls mesh. So for this one, um, I'm missing a few, some of the details that I want to add. For example, in here, I have all these ventilation pipes for the dryers, and at the moment they're all individual. So as you can see, there's this one, this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and so on. So I like to do it in my laundromat file, and hopefully, and this way it'll be only one mesh, and I'll just be able to drag it in and easily place it in the level. Another thing that I wanted to mention now that I'm looking at the reflections is right now, um, one of the things I mentioned in previous streams was the usage of viz areas. So this is apparently, the way I see it, it's a double-edged sword. So if you want to get the higher quality reflections in your global illumination settings, you want to go with integration mode 1. To me, that's where the higher quality for reflections is. But that doesn't work when you're inside a viz area, so that's quite annoying because um, that's what the viz area would do. We'll keep that. You can set up that environment probe to be as big as you want, and it will be, and it will be contained within that viz area. So that's why I like the viz area concept. But the downfall is that apparently when I switch to integration mode 1, as you can see, reflections are just pretty bad. And this, I don't know if it's a setting that I need to enable in here, but it works just fine when there's no viz areas and portals here. So considering that integration mode 2 is still, and probably 1 as well, is still experimental. What I'm planning on doing is, and here it goes. I was gonna say it's probably gonna crash, but so this is integration mode 0, which doesn't really help with my needs. So there's one that doesn't look terrible, but it's pretty bad, and there's 2. So considering that I'd like to use viz areas, and so this way, if I use, for example, right now, as you can see, there's these God rays, light beams, whatever you want to call them, that are generated that I generate through the use of a fog volume. And of course you can, let's go to properties for this, and if you bring up the density, probably can only go so high. You can adjust it. So the good thing about a viz area is that it would keep this thing contained, because if I pull it out, this is how it actually looks. So if I don't use a viz area, then this one might seep throughout the walls of the building. So, but oh, come on, I have my snapping on, so I need to turn that off. So, but if I bring it inside, once inside the viz area, there's no more leaking happening. So again, just if I pull it out, that's what happens. So the advantage of having a viz area is that, say for example, it's right here, right? If I check affect this area only, it's only going to affect what's inside of that viz area. So as you can see, let me show you. So this would be the entire fog volume, but my viz area is right here. So the fog volume, that's what I'd like to be able to use viz areas. And aside from that, it also helps with your interior illumination. And like I said, there's downfalls to whatever method apparently you want to use. So hopefully they'll improve on the reflections for integration mode 2, and we'll see how it goes. For now, I think this is the best of both worlds. It's not perfect, it's definitely not, but it's getting there. Okay, so back to the laundromat. Okay, so in here I have these pieces, and from after placing them in the engine, it looks like the correct size, because I mean these were just, I started them off with a default size, and now that I'm going to use them maybe in a factory, maybe in a building, maybe in the school, and so on, they're probably going to take on different sizes. In the engine currently, this, if you take a look at it, it's at half its exported size. So I want to make that half as well in here. So let's scale this by 50%, and then always remember to apply your scale. So unfortunately there's no way that I know of that you can apply the scale to all these. Let me try it. Let me see if it's rotation and scale, and it actually did. Oh, that's pretty cool. The way I was expecting it to happen was to apply that action to the last element that got selected. So if I was to select this, this, and this, applying scale will only apply to this. Because, for example, and this is just the UV unwrap, if I select this one, and you hit tab to go into edit mode, you go into edit mode for this one. So even though you still have both of them selected. Okay, so let's look at what I was prototyping in here for this section of tubing. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these and 6 of those vertical ones. So let's do that in here. So we have, and I'm gonna keep these aside. These are gonna be kind of my factory items to use. So I'll just create a copy of this. Alright, so good old Blender, let's use a quick array. And we want 6 of these guys. Just like that. And then we want one of the vertical sections. And what we'll do is so we'll just attach it to this one, and then we get all of them. And I cannot remember why I have this edge loop in here. Probably seems to be pointless, at least for this object. Alright, let's position it where it's supposed to be, right there. Scale it down a little bit. So there we go, we have the section going across. So, and just for reference, I'll place this somewhere where my items are actually going to be on the wall. So they're about here. Like so. Because I want to see how I'm going to transition from this section of piping onto this section of piping, because I want to join the two. Alright, and also what I need is another piece of these. And I'm starting to think, because I'm not a HVAC engineer or an architect engineer, so a lot of this is, out of my head, so to speak. And so let's do this. I want to do a copy of this and put it over here for this row of dryers. And there's going to be a vent going outside. So for that piece, we'll use, let's see, I'll use this one. So I can go in here and apply my array, and then this one, so medium point, one doesn't snap to where it's supposed to snap. Oh, because it's way out there. There we go. Okay, so we'll have a look once I export this. I just want this to exit the wall a little bit. So hopefully we'll be able to clear it. We'll see once we get there. Alright, we need to join these together. Bring it down like so. Alright. So for a quick reference, I just want to see here. So that one's going to be all set, and this one. This one should end about here. So what we'll need is pull this out like so. And so I'm hoping, apparently, made a little bit of a boo-boo here because I made this smaller. So, fortunately, Alt S is probably not going to let me scale it properly. So I'm going to have to delete these and grab another one of these here. There we go, that's better. Alright, so let's apply this one as well. I hate it when it switches to weight paint. And let's join these two. And we'll add an export node. Going to be laundromat ventilation. Okay, let's do a quick export. And it already has a material applied to it, but I don't need to export that because that material exists already with my interior ventilation. So. Game, laundromat. And here's the cool thing about CryBlend, you can export selected nodes. Thank you, Oscar, for that. And let's see how this works. So exporting selected nodes, as you can see, process just the laundromat ventilation. So let's take a look at that, and hopefully it got brought in properly. Let's go create, and this is another issue that I've noticed, and it seems like everything that you search for that exists, it's duplicated. And especially in materials for some reason, like in the material editor will show you material default, and these are like the Crytek stuff. This is not even my stuff, so it's not an error with the export from Blender. It's just an error with the window navigation explorer part of CryEngine. So yeah, like I said, this 5.1 it might seems a little bit buggier than the last one, at least on the surface. Alright, so let's bring in that ventilation laundromat. And there it is. So let's bring this in. And this one was somewhere about here. And I'll try and place it in about the same spot as this one. There we go. Perfect. So now we only have one mesh, and we can delete the ones that I've used to, do a little bit of prototyping. Before I do that, I want to make sure that at least it's positioned in the same place. Like, as you can see, this one here is not really where it's supposed to be. So I'll go back into my laundromat, and yeah, so I noticed it right here. That is pretty far off the wall, and so I'm just gonna have to move it along the x-axis. Let's see, bring it down a little bit, like that. And that should be alright. I think that might be actually extending outside of the wall. If not, we can easily pull it out some more, like this. Alright, let's do a quick export on just this node again. And unfortunately, when you export, CryEngine will not reload it. I do not know why, but alright, they're about correctly positioned. It should be pretty easy to move these dryers, this way a little bit. Because I'm a little anal like that, I want to get them all in the right, or at least somewhat in the right spot. Okay, so let's apply some materials to this. I'll actually delete these first. Let me just freeze this so I don't delete it by mistake. So F will freeze an item, and then I believe it's Shift F that will unfreeze it. And I forgot, I moved this out, but and see right now I can't select it. Okay, so let's apply material to it. And let's do Shift F, and you prompt it with unfreeze all the objects. And let's apply it to this fella. So there we go. I think that worked out pretty good. And the pipe extends out of the wall. It seems like, it seems like it would work. I did laundry for some time in my life while going to college, so I've seen a few vents in a few of these dryers and washers. So alright, so I like how this one's positioned, but I need to bring this out a little bit. Apparently I pushed it too much in. So let's do that, and yeah, it's right there. See, that's what happens when you don't pay attention. And let's see, that's a little bit too much. I think that might do right there. And let's do an export. And apparently I pushed it even more in. What's going on? That was kind of weird. Alright, where are you? Okay, that's a little bit too much, but we can move it a little bit like so. I think I might want to tweak it in here. Okay, so that's better. I can pull these dryers out a little bit. Like so. I think they were like pushed into the wall. Alright, that looks good. And yeah, I mean the reflections are not perfect in this mode, but they still look pretty decent. So hopefully with time they're only going to improve, and it's going to take hopefully more info from the cube map, from the Environment Pro, just like integration mode 1 does. Right, so I got the ventilation in place, but now I need to join the two, so let's delete this last piece because it's just hanging out there. So let's see about doing that. And now they're in the correct position. I'm probably going to need a couple of these curved ones, and also want to use one of these hangers, and a straight piece as well. I think that should be it as far as joining these. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how we can do this. So I like perspective mode sometimes, just because you know, in these situations here. So what I'll do, I'll join these already. So let's add a couple of hangers around this thing here. Just like so. They're long enough to go into the ceiling, and maybe I'll add a couple. Actually, come to think of it, I think I need to bring this down a little bit, because I'm not, you know, this would go through this support beam, or you know, would be something made for that. And oh, but I mean, these look a little funky here, so let's bring those down like that. That's better. And I'm just going to extend these up. This is one of the issues with perspective mode, that um, the camera would move a lot faster than in orthographic view. Alright, so we'll place maybe a couple, one there and another one here. Alright, so let's do this part here. So now I can go back into my orthographic view. What I would like to do, and it would look pretty nice, I think, is if I can use this piece to go under that support beam. So let's have a look and see if we can do that. Oh, come on. Alright, so we got that piece right there. So let's separate this. No, I don't want all of those. And I'm kind of looking at this and I don't see a seam, so I'm hoping that I didn't make any mistakes with this. Hopefully not. Alright, so let's see what do we have here. I keep hitting H, which is hide, instead of G to move. Alright, so there we go. It's almost there, I would say. But oh. Okay, so I think that that's actually giving it a pretty decent look. Alright, so let's bring this over that way, and I think it might actually pass underneath that. It's right at there, but I plan on bringing these down a little bit. And alright, so now let's see how do we join these. Hopefully it'll work smooth enough. Well, we'll see. Well, I might have to bring these down a little bit. So let's do that. Actually, I was thinking of doing something else. Since this is getting a little bit repetitive as far as all these dryers, I'm thinking of taking one out and have that be the connection. So if I was to grab this section here, and actually it might be the other one that I had to remove. Okay, so let's rotate around the Y 90. Well, negative, like so. So let's see, do we need to bring it in a little further? That should be pretty easy to do. Let's delete this first. So by holding down L and just moving over everything that you want selected, or B, Blender has so many ways that you can select items. Do a quick Control L. So, oops, we'll bring this in a little bit and down a little bit. Like so. Let's delete this excess here. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let's see how it looks in the engine. Oh, so there it is. It's a little low at the moment, but let's bring it up. there we go. Looks pretty good. I just need to extend these pipes a little bit. But overall, that is pretty decent. It still extends out. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's generate the the probe. So for that, like I said, I need to turn off my volumetric file because it will crash, and also the fog volume. For some reason, I brought it up. Also, I don't know what's up with why this is glass on these washers, so I don't know why it does not get rendered properly when in a fog volume. Okay, so let's turn this value down. Where was it? So we'll keep it at 0.2. Just it was a little too strong in the beginning. And again, this one apparently doesn't do anything. The cube map resolution. So it's running and it crashes. There you have it. That's why you need your Control S should be heavily used. Alright, so hopefully this loads. I've actually had issues with it not loading the level, so there we go. And let's grab that, now this is so strong I can barely see it. I know it was somewhere around here. There it is. Okay, so I can't remember if I guess I did. I was checking the reflections on the pipes to make sure that I generated the probe, but apparently I did. Okay, so that ventilation is in place. What I'll do separately, probably from the stream, will be to add those hangers, do this extra just time-consuming work that we should not waste time with it during the stream. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to show and that I actually did for the first time today was initially all the floor in the laundromat was like this. So I felt that was boring, or not necessarily boring, but just normally these public facilities would have a little bit of you know variety in it. So, and I've actually noticed it at my local laundromat, is that it's not all the same tile. So since whenever you lay down tile, you have this color and that color. What I've noticed is that around certain areas of a facility, you would use them in a different pattern. So that's why I did the sides with a black tile, which is basically started off from this same material, and so the rest with the black and white combination. And So the way I did that, and I can show you here in my file, let's go and hide everything but the floor. So there we go. I've made a bunch of these edge loops and assigned, especially with these kind of rectangular tiles, it's pretty easy um, to find the edge. And this is kind of a, you know, a little bit of a broken down, you know, heavily trafficked tile, and you'll see there's some issues maybe like around here and around here, which can be probably corrected from Photoshop. But what I did was, to each one of these faces that gets created when you apply an edge loop, I've assigned the second type of this other material, which is the black tile. So um, right now it's assigned all the way around, and if we look in here, it looks good around these edges, right? But then I have this you know, this room here, which is probably going to be like a supply closet or something, and there's no edging around that, and I do want to have it. So so let's go ahead and do that as well for this. And I'll show you, especially I'm sure probably other programs do it, you know, have this thing, this feature, but with Blender, and I was playing around earlier with this. If I want to extend this out, you know, maybe I want another row of tiles to be black. So if you press GG, which is edge slide, it would pull that off just like so. But in order to do that, in here you got to make sure, and let's do this again, that you have this on, correct UVs. And I think you only need it the first time you do it, and then it's gonna propagate that setting. So it's really cool how that works. So for my needs now, what I need to do, I need to put that edge all around that supply closet, and there's also another sorry, this is going to be a bathroom at this end, and I need to do that edge around there as well, as you can see over here. So on this edge. So let's get to it. Alright, and in order to do that, I need to unhide all my elements, and again, in order to, well, kind of what I like to call it going in the room is you need to go into perspective view. Okay, so what I'll probably need is an edge loop here, and that would extend all the way to that. And like I said, the problem with perspective view is that for some reason, and I don't know why, whenever you do edge loops and, you know, certain moves, it moves really quick. And but I'll use this just to place my edge loops first, and then I'll go into orthographic view and adjust those accordingly. So I have that, and I don't need it to be there, but I need it to be on this side. So that's going to be to there, and this one will be to here. Oh, where'd you go? Oh, I already had it. Sometimes it's tough to work with creating edge loops and all with the textures applied, so it's kind of hard to see the edge. And you can change that in Blender, change the colors for those. So this is gonna be about, come on, about there. And I want another one to go around here. Alright, so edge loops placed. Now let's just select the floor, Control R to invert, and then hide the rest. And let's go and select the faces that I want to apply. And hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. Let me go back in here because I think I might be missing. Yeah, for this one, for example, this room, I'll keep it all in the black tile. You know, it's a utility closet. You don't need anything fancy. So let's apply this one. And in order to see it, I can come in here and select it like so. Okay, and the same thing will go for this room here. And of course, for all the purists that want to have, you know, as little polygons as possible, you can drag these around and move them. But I'm not too worried about it because this is a mesh that's only going to be visible up close, also inside of this area. So performance decrease or increase from you removing maybe 5 triangles is going to be less than negligible, I would say. Okay, so assign that, and let's export just the selected one again, and export. Let's try doing a delete on this, and that didn't work. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? Let's take a quick peek at the console. Oh, okay, that could be an issue. And here, just to show you real quick how nice the logging works for CarIBlend. You have a reason here, 2 vertices of a face share the same coordinate. And so let's go ahead and fix that. Sometimes it could be because of this here. As you can see, there's some extra vertices, and of course there's also these things here, which apparently are some leftovers. I'm not sure how that got in there. Okay, so let's remove doubles. There's 16 vertices, that was quite a few. And let's try and export this again. Hopefully it works. And so finish loading, 1 file processed. Let's take a look at it in CryEngine. Delete again because it doesn't want to load, and here we go. So we have the edging in place. Now we just need to go in, and as you can see, it's not this part I actually managed to get it pretty close, but around here, as you can see, it extends out too much. So we need to go in and fix that. This one again, it's really close because it was along this line anyways, so this was in place from before. Let's actually save this, and let's bring in a light. We'll get a little bit more of a better view. which apparently does not work. Why doesn't it work? Well, the plot thickens. So it works there, but it does not work inside of the viz area. Oh man, that's kind of a bummer. Let's see if it works as a projector light, because I've noticed also some issues with projector lights not casting shadows. Man, they have a lot of work to do. Okay, let's add a texture to this. So lights. I highly doubt this is going to do anything, but we'll give it a try. Probably not. Well, I need to test it outside of a viz area and inside of viz area, because apparently it works on if you look closely on the spec channel, maybe. Wow. Alright, well that explains some more things. Let's I'll put it at a different time of day, and we'll try it like that. Okay, we have some piece of wool missing there. Okay, so that looks okay there, I would say. It's kind of bad on this side, is not so good. Whoa! What did I just do? Man, I just hate sometimes I don't pay attention to things, and I delete chunks of wall, apparently. So as you can see, there is a good chunk of wool missing here. So let's fix that real quick. I should actually separate this, because this is it ends here in a lower wall. So I'm not sure when I triangulated that. Oh, that's some severe nuisance. At least we have the my booleans in place, so let's go ahead and create a wall. Like so. Separate this first. I want to link the vertices actually. Okay, so we have the wall back in place. I need to do a UV unwrap for this. Alright, let's make sure that normals are facing the right way. And they seem to be. Okay, perfect. Let's I'll hide the exterior walls and let's join the two. And hopefully that will fix it. Okay, that apparently exported. Alright. Okay, sorry about that, and yay, there goes some missing pieces over there. Okay. Well, at least that's sort of back in place. Let's get these windows. In there. Okay, I'll need a what's the word I'm looking for? Door frame over here as well. So again, that's pretty easy to do. And another one there. Okay, let's see what happened here. Alright, that should take care of it. I hope. There it is. And there's also some ceiling missing over there that I need to fix. Alright, and maybe we'll do another row of these benches over here with one of these trash bins right there. Maybe also a vending machine. put it on this wall over here. And maybe a sink. Yeah, so see, this is again one of the things I'm talking about. It's, I mean, once you search through it, it's just filtering on one of the assets directories, but it's still not what it's supposed to be. And let's go into properties because I forgot to turn on my angle snap. So I want this to be 90. Have a sink here for the patrons. There we go. So we have this corner done, and we need another one of these window sections, window groups. And let's see, it's at 90 now. So saving has kind of become a little bit of a reflex now. Alright, let's add a portal to this. Like I said, good thing I saved, right? Yeah, so see, crashes like this are extremely annoying, because, I mean, you can move one fine and then move a second one and it crashes? Come on, really? That should not happen. So yeah, it's gonna be... Alright, save. Yeah, Dandy, that's... You know what, it is what it is. I mean, as far as... I mean, I wish they would have did this really nice interface with the with the backbone of the CryEngine EAS. I mean, that one also crashed, you know, sometimes quite often, but definitely not like this. Not like this. I mean, this is just and I mean, I get frustrated too, but I would assume like somebody that would, if somebody has the same issues that I do and they just started with CryEngine, well, guess what? Unreal, here he comes, or Unity or something. But yeah, it's what can you say? If it wasn't for the rendering, well, yeah, no, the thing is, it does tell you, but it's something that it's a bunch of like memory stack exceptions, but that if you're not like, who knows what type of level engineer you have to be to understand that, and even if you were, you'd have to be an employee at Crytek that would deal with that kind of stuff. So yeah, for example, right now it didn't even load. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm starting to get very irritated lately with how easy it crashes, and out of the and that's why nobody is is using it, as far as, trying to make, moving their game onto it. Or, and I know they're pretty far advanced in their projects, but um, well, finally, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, that would be something, but well, it doesn't work on that philosophy. um, so we'll have to hope for the best, and see what I'm hoping. I mean, I'm hoping a lot from. I think they're gonna release another one sometime in June, maybe, which would be not such a minor update, like 5.1 is my understanding. So like crashes like this, I tried to move the sun direction and it crashed. And I am starting to think that it's something that has to do with the viz areas that are not properly implemented. Because I mean, if you look at the woodland level, there's no viz area in there as far as I remember. So it's one of those things, keep within what you see in the woodland level, or else you would get problems. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what comes um, of the next release. So I'll give this another shot. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I'm probably gonna have to call it quits. Yeah, thank you, Oscar. But that does not guarantee that there's going to be a lot of fixes. Like you said, new features. I do not care about new features. I want the current features to work properly, and I'm good. I mean, for the next 5 years, I don't even care if they do anything else to it if it works. But it has to work, and that's kind of a word that's not common. So I was right here minding my own business. Let's change the sun direction, see if it crashes again. And there it goes. I tell you. Okay, that's one of those things that you should call it quits, because you're just wasting other people's time, kind of thing. So um, sorry about all the hiccups in the stream today. Hopefully hopefully I learned my lesson, and I'll see if it is due to this, to the viz areas and portals. Um, but But you know what? One last thing. Let's do this. One last thing. I want to remove this viz areas and portals and see if it crashes again. and also check to see if that light is working, because if it is, then it could be an issue with those. I mean, I wish they would just tell you, you know, we don't use those, they're really unstable, you should not use them either. At least something along those lines. Okay, let's try and man, you can't even start it and it crashes. It is taking frustration to a whole new level. Let's see, if it crashes again, I will call it quits this time. Alright, let's alright, sorry about this. It's extremely frustrating. But we did get to do some things in this stream today. Hopefully the parts that worked you guys liked and found it interesting. I'll do another one next week, hopefully with less issues, and I'll do some testing on my end, and if it is indeed because of the viz areas, I'll try and keep them out of next week's stream, and we'll see if there's going to be a fix for that, but who knows. Alright, thanks guys for stopping by, and we'll see you next week. Alright, take care all.